Have you ever wondered what happens when a crisis in the classroom gets so big it actually sparks a revolution in teaching? Well, that's exactly the story we're diving into today. And this isn't some abstract theory. This is a real-world solution that was born from an incredible partnership between a teacher and a powerful AI.
This quote right here really is the key to this whole story. This innovation wasn't dreamed up in some sterile tech lab. Nope, it was forged in the fire, born out of the real-world struggles that teachers were facing every single day. It was a direct answer to a massive need.
All right, so before we get to the solution, which is pretty brilliant, we really need to understand the problem. What exactly is this crisis that teachers are up against day in and day out?
At the end of the day, it really just boils down to this. Teachers today are absolutely drowning in expectations. Seriously, the demands of the modern classroom have just exploded, but the tools and systems they have to support them, well, they haven't kept up at all. It's created this huge gap between what we're asking teachers to do and what we're actually equipping them to do. And this really breaks down that pressure perfectly. On one side, you've got this constant flood of countless new teaching standards. You've got the need for personalized learning for every single student, and these huge demands for deeper engagement. And on the other side, the planning tools they're given are basically stuck in the past. This fundamental mismatch is what leads to burnout and makes an already tough job feel almost impossible.
So, how in the world do you solve a problem this big? Well, this is where our story takes a really fascinating turn. The answer wasn't about finding a single new app or some fancy new template. It was about forging an entirely new kind of partnership. And this slide just illustrates that partnership perfectly. On one side, you've got Ken Peterson. He's a veteran educator who brought that deep, on-the-ground expertise. He knows the frameworks, the logic, and how teachers actually work in the real world. And on the other side, you've got Microsoft Copilot, the AI. You can think of it as this incredibly powerful cognitive engine that has the ability to analyze patterns and test structures at a massive scale, something way beyond what any human could do alone. So you have this amazing partnership, which is a great start. But how do you turn that into something real, something tangible? Well, the process wasn't a simple brainstorm. It was a super rigorous, iterative journey to get from that core idea to a fully fledged, innovative system.
And when I say rigorous, I am not kidding. We are talking about hundreds of prototypes. Just let that sink in. Hundreds of iterations of unit plans, pacing engines, and decision trees. This wasn't a one-and-done kind of thing. It was a relentless process of building, testing, and refining to get it just right.
And you can see that process broken down so clearly right here. Step 1 was always human-led design. That was Ken providing the educational architecture, the real-world logic. Then, in Step 2, the AI Copilot would come in and analyze those designs, pressure testing them for any weaknesses, looking for patterns. And all of that led to Step 3, iterate and refine. It was this constant, beautiful loop of human expertise guiding AI power and back again.
And through all of those hundreds of prototypes and those countless hours of work, this was their North Star. It was always about one simple goal. It was never about just making things easier if that meant sacrificing quality. The goal was to do both, to drastically reduce the crushing workload on teachers while, at the very same time, elevating the quality of their instruction.
So, after all that work, what was the final result? What actually emerged from this unique partnership and this incredibly intense development process? It's called the Future Ready Unit Planning System, or FRUPS for short. Now, this definition is really key. FRUPS is described as a coherent, scalable architecture, and that tells you it's not just a collection of disconnected tools. No, it's a complete system. It's designed from the ground up to modernize the very foundation of how teachers plan, and it does that by perfectly blending human expertise with AI-supported design. So what does this system actually deliver? What's the impact? Well, for teachers, it brings clarity in a sea of overwhelming demands. For students, it means they get deeper, more meaningful learning experiences. And for entire school districts, it offers a truly modernized planning system that finally matches the needs of today's world.
I think this quote just captures the ambition here perfectly. The goal was never to just create a better fill-in-the-blank worksheet. This is about fundamentally changing the workflow and the entire mindset around designing instruction. It's about creating a system built for the next decade of education, not the last one.
And so that leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about, doesn't it? Is this model, this deep collaborative partnership between human experts and powerful AI engines, is this the key to solving education's biggest challenges? Is this really how we build the future of teaching? It's definitely something to consider.